The following story has been brought to you by StoriesToInspire.org.
This is a story about this young boy, 10-year-old boy. I think he lived in Israel. His name was Benny. Benny's 10 years old, and he has this, regular 10-year-old kid does his regular thing, but he had this one friend who was like a bully, and a real bully. And I don't know if you know, there's a lot of talk today about bullying and young kids, elementary school kids, and the bullying and how it affects the kids and so on. So, the kids that to want to be macho, and he's holding it in, and he doesn't want to tell his parents, and he'd come home like depressed, sometimes even crying, wipe away the tears, go in and sit down like nothing's going on. One day he got himself a brand new 15-speed bike. So he's excited, he's riding the bike, and sure enough, this kid, Ellie, sees him on the bike, he gets on his own bike, and he starts following him, and tries to make the tires touch, and tries to make the spine, until he basically tries to get Benny to fall off the bike. Benny can't take it, like he's a little kid. So he just comes racing home, and he can't control it now. He just opens the door, and is running into the house, and he sits down in the living room on the couch, and his mother's like, "Benny, what's going on?" And it's like, he doesn't sound right, and the truth is, he hasn't sounded right for a while. "Benny, you okay?" He doesn't respond. And she hears from the other room, he's like hysterical crying. She comes inside, and she sees Benny sitting on the couch, reading his Tehillim. So she goes into Benny, she says, "Benny, what's wrong? Is somebody sick? Is everything okay?" He says, "Nobody's sick." He says, "I'm just praying to God that He should become my bodyguard. Because I need His help, and I need His protection, so I'm praying to Him to become my bodyguard." And the mother's looking at him, and she's stroking her son, and she's like, you know what? She goes outside the room, and she calls a friend, a neighbor that they had, a woman named Chaya. Chaya was just a woman who was married, was like a friend of the family, who never had children. So she was extra close to their family. She's almost like a second mother. So she just calls her up just to tell, my son, he's sitting on the couch. She says, "I want to come and talk to him." A few minutes later, the doorbell rings, and in comes this woman, Chaya. She comes in. She goes to the living room. She stands by the door, and she's watching this boy. And then she goes to the couch, and she sits down next to Benny. And Benny says, "What?" She says, "I'm just came to see you, and I just have a little request." She says, "What is it?" She says, "Could you pray that God should become my bodyguard too? I haven't had kids in 17 years. A year later, she had one. Maybe it was Benny, maybe it was his bodyguard. You jump in, he splits the sea. God runs the world. You have to live like you believe it. You have to act like you know it. You have to talk like you feel it, because He really does run the world. Yes, He really, really, really does." Thank you.
Enjoyed this story? Come again. Bring a friend. StoriesToInspire.org